Hello and welcome to Take a Deep Breath. My name is Ben Crunkhorn and I will be presenting a documentary on declining air quality. In this presentation I'll begin by explaining what our atmosphere is made up of and what greenhouse gases are for general context. I'll then discuss the consequences of declining air quality, such as resulting health risks and complications, then continuing by talking about air pollutants, particle sizes, and their effects on the human body. Following this will be a comparison of Australia's air quality with China's, and lastly I will briefly discuss the 2019 to 2020 bushfire smoke that has produced dangerous air quality and health risks. What air is made up of, and greenhouse gases. The term air refers to a mixture of gases that makes up our atmosphere. It is comprised of nitrogen, oxygen, water vapor, argon, carbon dioxide, and trace amounts of other gases. Water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrogen dioxide are greenhouse gases and are necessary for Earth to maintain homeostasis. However, as greenhouse gases increase, the balance is shifted, causing global warming and climate change. The graph depicts increasing concentration levels from 1975 to 2015. Current data has carbon dioxide concentration of 413.5 parts per million in 2020. The consequences of declining air quality, health risks, and complications. Air quality is a topic everyone should be concerned about. After all, we all have to breathe. So take a deep breath and let's talk about the consequences of declining air quality. Firstly, what is meant by the term air quality? Well, data collected that determines air quality includes air pollutants, airborne particles, and visibility, and this data is collated into the air quality index. That data is used to provide an index scale ranging from very good, good, fair, poor, very poor, and hazardous. I'll talk more about AQI later. Now I'd like to focus on the health-related risks and complications that are caused by declining air quality. This pie graph shows the top health complications attributed to long-term exposure to poor air quality, with heart disease being number one at 48%, stroke at 22%, lung cancer at 17%, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease at 9%, and all others at 4%. Based on the statistics collected by the World Health Organization, 3.7 million people died in 2012 as a result of health complications due to prolonged exposure to air pollution. Effects of particle size on the human body. Now that I've covered the health implications of declining air quality and air pollutants, let's discuss airborne particles. Airborne particles, or particulate matter, are a mixture of liquid vapor and solid particles that are small enough and light enough to float about in the air. According to the US Environmental Protection Agency, there are two categories of airborne particles: PM10, which includes dust, dirt, smoke, which are all big enough to be seen by the human eye and can be inhaled. These particles are 10 micrometers in diameter and smaller. Then there is PM2.5, which includes things like combustion particles, organic compounds, and metals as depicted in this image. These particles are so small that they can only be seen under an electron microscope and are 2.5 micrometers in diameter and smaller. I think this image gives good perspective as to how tiny these particles are in comparison to the human hair and a grain of beach sand. So how bad are particles to the human body? Well, considering these particles can be made up of just about anything, they range from harmless to potentially deadly. PM10 airborne particles can be inhaled but generally get trapped in the nose or throat. Particle matter smaller than 2.5 micrometers are finer than that of the PM10 particles and persist longer in the air. When inhaled into your lungs, they pass into your bloodstream where they can accumulate and potentially trigger cardiac and respiratory conditions such as heart attack, asthma, and respiratory infections like bronchitis. Those with pre-existing conditions, the elderly, and pregnant women are more susceptible. Comparing Australia's air quality to China's. When talking about a country's air quality, we must examine the air quality index. Here's a snapshot of the New South Wales AQI data from 14th of January 2020. The data shows good to very good air quality index across the Greater Sydney region with PM10 and PM2.5 AQI between 20 to 60. The data from China tells a different story. China's AQI sits between 90 to 490, which puts China firmly in the range of poor to hazardous air quality on an average day. The comparison is staggering, but not surprising, as China has some of the worst air quality in the world as exhibited here in this image. The 2019 to 2020 Australian bushfires and the impact on air quality. This bushfire season has seen one of Australia's worst in recorded history. It has also produced an enormous amount of smoke that has raised serious health concerns. In the first week of January 2020, Canberra saw air quality index peaking to 3,150 AQI on the 5th of January, ranking the city as number 1 in the world for the worst air quality. This made the air extremely hazardous to breathe, as the highest pollutant in the air at the time was PM 2.5 particles. When you consider 200 AQI is deemed hazardous, that number is surreal. These images make it easy to see just how hazardous the air was during that week in Canberra. This documentary has explored the topic of declining air quality by discussing what air is made up of, greenhouse gases, the consequences of declining air quality, specifically health risks and complications, the effects of airborne particle size on the human body, a comparison between Australia's air quality and China's, and a brief look at the impact of bushfire smoke on air quality. Taking into consideration the information presented on how exposure to poor air quality can affect human health, the increasing greenhouse gases, and resulting declining air quality, I hope I have highlighted the risk we all face in the future if air quality continues to decline. In order to ensure clean, fresh air for future generations, we must find a way of halting declining air quality. Thank you for watching.